One is a grown man with an encyclopedic knowledge of cinema. The other, a man-child raised by the more questionable corners of the internet. What happens when they each dive into something the other one loves? Find out on
The Man with No Brain.
Ryan, we're ready whenever
Okay.
you are.
Yeah, we're ready.
I'm sorry. I am ready when you are. Joe is never ready.
I'm completely ready.
All right, Joe. All right, everybody. Welcome to episode number 4 of The Man with No Brain, a podcast where I try to find some semblance of relatability with a guy that's got a brain pan like the end of the world. My name is Ryan Matthew Ziegler, and I'm joined, as always, by the man with no brain himself, Mr. Impatient, Interrupted Motherfucking Joe Robert Buckley.
What?
How you doing, Joe Bob?
No, I'm doing extremely well. I don't mean to interrupt. It's just that with the Wi-Fi, I don't know. I don't know
Wi-Fi?
what's going on, but I'm here.
What
Yeah,
the
the
hell's the
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi have to do with you just waiting 1 second for the introduction to be over so you can come in professionally?
I think what he meant, Ryan, is that his brain is like dial-up internet, and you're cruising like 1 gigabyte
Absolutely not.
broadband.
No, I am like those cool fiber optic cables that they put underneath the ground, so that way you can play Counter-Strike faster.
That explains why oftentimes Joe, in the middle of a sentence, will just stand there and stare straight ahead and piss his pants a little bit. It's because somebody picked up the phone.
Hey,
It is-
no. Listen, I arrived at the director's house today, and you know what? He was in the middle of pissing, so I waited a second. And when I arrived at the door, there was a small splash of urine on the front of his pants.
God damn you, Joe.
Now I got you!
He's not wrong.
Well, were they-
He's not wrong.
Here's the thing: were they khakis?
No, just like a jeans, kind of,
Oh.
like brown
Yeah,
jeans.
yeah, they're khakis. I mean, they're like a light blue khaki.
All right. Well, see, that's the thing, Joe. I mean, every
What?
time I'm going to tell you this, and I'm no scientist, so you
Okay.
can take this with a grain of salt. However, I still stand by what I'm about to say. Every time a man, whether it's a toilet or it's a urinal, goes to the bathroom, takes a piss, they're splashback.
I mean, I can agree with that to a certain extent.
And you don't notice it when they're wearing jeans or a darker pant. But if they've got a light colored pant and it's a khaki material, that's going to show up.
Well, here's what I do. Whenever I'm in a public bathroom and I have to use a urinal, normally I like to sit down on the toilet. But if I have to use a urinal to pee, I pull my pants all the way down and then I make sure to spread my ass. So that way other people are intimidated and don't use the urinals next to me. And that way I don't get any urine on my jeans.
Still doesn't explain how you showed up with shit caked on the back of your pants.
Absolutely not. I sat on M&Ms. I sat on M&Ms.
The thing about Joe, though, is if he shows up with pants with shit on them, it might not be Joe's shit, because I know the Buckleys have like a communal pant that they share amongst each other.
No. Oh, no. Actually, I did accidentally wear my dad's pants like a week ago, and I found $120 in it that I just lost, so I gave that back to him.
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you gave it back to him, Joe.
Yeah. I'm not no money thief.
His money is your money because everything you own, it comes from him and his hard work. The sweat of
Absolutely
his brow.
not. I have DVDs I bought with my own money. I bought magic cards. He won't allow me to buy magic cards with his money. That's my money.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Smartest parenting decision he's made yet.
No, he did not say, Joe, you cannot spend my money on Eldrazi's. You have to get your own.
I take that back. The smartest parenting decision he ever made was after you came out and, lived for a while. And he was like, maybe we'll give it another
He just
try.
started dumping his seed down the toilet.
And he had a couple more. Those were the best
Yeah.
parenting decisions. He hedged his bets on that one.
Well, no, he had my brother and sister, and then by that time I was like 6 years old, and he could see how I was going to turn out, and that way he just started like throwing all his cum out the window.
That's an awful thing to call your mom's vagina.
No, I do not call my mom's vagina the window.
Is that what you mean, Joe? When you always when I message you when I know you're bummed out and you say, it's okay, I'm just looking out the window,
No, absolutely not.
just staring at your mom's coochie to make you feel better.
I do not say I'm looking at grass on the window. That means I'm looking at birds.
Okay, so
I did actually take a caffeine pill before I came here today, so I'm ready to go. I'm moving.
I will say, I woke up because we're recording this. It's a little bit after 10 in the morning,
It's early.
and when I got up like about 8:45, and I was waiting for the message that we were going to start later because Joe, I would have put money on it. I would have put gold money on that.
Absolutely. Well, you would have lost.
I'm proud of you, Joe. You're on time.
I'm a professional. I am a professional broadcaster.
You're prepared by taking a caffeine pill. So here's the thing. Before we get too deep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wanted to ask you about. I want a rough. I want. What? Hello?
No, I'm here.
Oh no, we're here.
Okay, because it made a weird noise. I don't know if that was just Joe trying to breathe.
I moved my seat.
It was him trying to interrupt you again.
Oh, okay. Well, here's Joe. I just want a rough sketch of what your daily schedule at this point is right now.
Yeah, so I can give you that.
It's 10-something in the morning. Normally, are you normally up at this time on a weekday?
Yeah, normally I am because I started waking up like around 2 to 3 a.m. Yeah, I just normally kind of pass out like around maybe noonish, maybe 1.
All right, so we're going to start with that. So your day begins at noon.
No, my day begins like around like 2 a.m. because I'll wake up around 2. I'll pass out.
You're right. So you wake up at 2 in the morning. That's the beginning of your day.
I do, yeah.
And you go to bed around noon.
Yeah, I can say that's about accurate.
So you're saying your normal day, your normal 24-hour period of life, you're only awake for 10 hours.
I mean, listen, with all this virus shit going around, why would you even be up longer than that? You might catch it.
So what do you occupy your 10 hours with? Do you have any sort of personal schedule, like the first half hour?
No.
You get up.
No.
What is when you open your crusty fucking eyes at 2 a.m. and you're like, carpe diem.
Yeah. Seize the day.
What do you do? What is the first thing you do?
I'll normally go to my mini fridge. I'll take a swig of Mountain Dew that I put UV blue vodka in because I wanted to get rid of the bottle in my fridge. So, wake myself up, get ready to start my day. I'll turn on my computer screen, and my PC's just been running the entire day. I never turn it off. And I'll browse a little bit on the internet. I'll see what's been going on, see what Reddit's saying, see what the old Discord wants to say.
Okay, so those are your friends. So a lot of people get up, maybe they check their email, they read the newspaper, maybe they see what's going on in the world. Your go-to is, I got to check the Reddit, got to check the Discord.
I want to make sure, I want to see what's happening with David Lynch. I mean,
gotta
that's
see what my new opinions are.
No!
Got to fill this empty skull of mine.
Absolutely
with
not.
Other people's opinions, other children opinions.
Absolutely not. No, I'll turn on my torrent, and then maybe just start like downloading some things. I'll start playing some video games. I'll start maybe watching a movie, watching a TV show or something. Then rewatching Twin Peaks.
You're rewatching Twin Peaks again?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I've only watched The Return once, so I wanted to rewatch the whole old series to watch the new one.
And so at some point, I imagine you feed during those few hours.
Yeah, I do. I go up to the freezer upstairs and I get myself a nice bag of frozen, fully cooked chicken, and I pop that in the microwave for about 3 minutes, and I go to town on that baby.
So you microwave your frozen, are they chicken fingers type of thing? Tenders?
Yeah, chicken fingers, chicken tenders, chicken patties. Yeah, micro. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're fully cooked, so you don't have to put them in the oven.
Are they breaded?
Yeah.
But they're going to be soggy.
Yeah, they are.
Why don't you put them in the oven?
That's it. I don't like cooking. I hate cooking so much.
That's not even cooking, Joe.
It is
it's
cooking.
Just heating it up.
You turn a knob, put them on a tray, and throw them in there.
I have to wait. That's an additional 20 minutes before I can eat. If I pop them in the oven, I will not do that. I refuse. Microwave for me.
Why don't you put them in the oven, go run in the shower, and then when you're done, you're out and you're eating. Well, you're eating your breakfast at fucking 3:30 a.m.
A breakfast of chicken fingers.
I haven't really considered that. Maybe I will start doing that then.
I was
looking. Yeah.
Well, here's another thing I was going to suggest. When you have money, income coming back, when you return to the theater and start working again and you have more money, maybe invest in an air fryer. Then you can have that plugged in downstairs in your basement.
Constantly running?
And it's an appliance. You plug it in and you use it when you want to, and the air fryer is going to cook those tendies a lot quicker.
And it's a little bit healthier for you, I know. It's
I don't know if it's healthier. I mean, the food
it's healthier for you.
It's pre-cooked, Joe. It's already cooked.
Yeah, but you're not deep frying it.
Well, no, you weren't going to deep fry it anyway. I'm saying the nutritional balance is the same whether you microwave those goddamn things or you put it in the air fryer.
I suppose you're right, Gordon Ramsay.
I'm saying it's going to take less time. You don't preheat anything. You just pop them in there, turn the knob. It's like it's one of the most simple cooking appliances there are.
Oh, I was looking into getting a grilled cheese maker just because I hate turning on the stove on the thing and then flipping my bread and shit. I just want to pop it in, make my grilled cheese, eat it.
I'd make fun of you for that if I wasn't in the market for a bratwurst cooker, a Johnsonville bratwurst, because I don't have a grill. I have a Forma grill, and I like bratwurst a lot.
Hell yeah.
But with the Forma grill, I got to cut them into little small slices, and then I got to put those on there. And it still works out well.
Yeah, it takes up too much time.
But there is a machine that a Johnsonville makes where it's shaped like the bratwurst. You just put them in there, almost like a panini maker.
I want to get a car shaped like a bratwurst.
And yeah, but they're really expensive. So believe it or not, for some reason that fucking sausage machine is
hundreds of dollars. Yeah,
is fairly expensive.
After the nuclear holocaust, our currency is just going to be in bratwurst machines.
Yeah, well, like paper currency, whether it's bratwurst or not, you're not going to have any.
Yeah,
so.
I have some. Currency.
You'll be going up to Papa Buckley, sausage Bubby for sausage for Bubby. And he'll pull out a smashed, wet, raw bratwurst out of his back pocket and hand it to you.
Can I buy a
Don't
cheese
spend it all
syringe?
in one place, Joe.
Yeah, I'll cut up. Can I buy a cheese syringe? It's a syringe that you can just inject cheese in the hamburgers and such.
Probably do that yourself. There is meat flavor injectors. I know Dan Aykroyd at one point was pimping one pretty hard. He was a spokesperson for one. I used to hear it on the radio all the time.
Yeah. I know he believes in aliens. So that's all I know.
Yeah,
about it.
I mean, he would do it as his Blues Brothers character, but.
All right, so this week, the assignment was...
nice segue there.
Well,
Joe Segway Buckley.
Yeah, no! I do not ride around like a Segway like Paul Blart.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, what?
Blah, blah.
So this week, we looked back on our childhood vacations, we wrote some stuff down, and we're going to tell you about it, people. What more do you want?
Yeah, I want to dive deeper into Joe Buckley's childhood, because I feel like I've learned a lot over the years about him as a I don't say adult necessarily. Adult, on the scientific scale, he's above 18.
I'm a man. Damn it.
I wanted to find out more about his childhood.
Oh, I have a fun one.
What created Joe Buckley that we know today? And I figured, well, even though it's, strange times right now, and there's going to be a lot less traveling and vacations this summer than previous summers, obviously, but it's getting warm out. I kind of want to think about vacations and childhood vacations. So.
Yeah. I mean, my upcoming vacation is I'm going to go to the Starved Rock Park and just throw rocks at the squirrels.
Have you been to Starved Rock? Have you and I gone there at any point?
I can't remember if we went for a shoot or something. I know I've been there for a shoot.
Joe was
once
there when I was shooting a commercial for Starved Rock Lodge.
Okay.
He was not in it, but Sarah was in it.
Yeah,
and Joe was there to just
right.
be screaming off camera.
Well, I had to give her motivation she wanted. She said,
I wasn't sure if you'd come out to any of those rock star competitions that we have locally that Sean would
I missed
MC,
them.
and I did one or two.
I would have gone. I missed that. I didn't know that was happening.
Anyways, I'm sure you were informed about it. But anyway, Joe Buckley.
I don't know. I forget.
So I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Let's start with you.
All right.
Did the Buckley family go on many summer vacations growing up?
So every single year we would go to this small amusement park called Indiana Beach. You live in Indiana now. Have you ever heard of that?
Actually, I'm on the edge. I'm on the border of Indiana and Kentucky, but I've heard of Indiana Beach. Yeah. Isn't Indiana Beach the commercial that says Indiana has more than corn?
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I am familiar. I haven't been.
Yeah, as like a teenager, I always imagined that it would be the cartoon like Crow, and he says there's more than porn in Indiana, and he's holding up a laptop with X's on it. That'd be funny.
That's what you thought at what age?
Probably 18, 19, maybe 23.
But
that was 2 years ago.
I don't know the difference. I don't know.
So, but as a kid, you went to Indiana Beach all the time.
Yeah. Every single year. Yeah, that was our big vacation.
How many days would you spend there?
Only 3. We had 3-day vacations.
And I assume you drove there.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, a nice 4-hour car ride with the brother and sister. We'd be poking at each other in the backseat.
Ugh.
Yeah, what? Not sexually, aggressively. I'd be punching my sister.
So paint a picture for me. What, and you can pick whatever age that makes the most sense since you did this every year.
Yeah.
Paint a picture of the car ride from your guys' humble abode in Grand Ridge, Illinois to
down to Indiana.
Indiana
Monticello, Indiana.
Monticello, Indiana.
All right. So we'd...
Paint a picture of what the car ride was like. Did you stop for snacks?
Oh,
was there arguing? What did you bring along
A lot of fighting.
Occupy your mind during that time?
Well, as a child, I was never allowed to have a nice video game like console, so I was stuck with like an original Game Boy in like 2003.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's only 10 years out of date. So I would have to try to like put it up to the window for sunlight to shine on it so I could see the screen. And I'd just be trying to play my like Pokemon and Tetris and all that shit. But, but then my brother would go and bat me outside the ear, and then I'd have to go poke him 3 times in the side. And then my dad would be yelling at us to knock it off or we're not going to Indiana Beach.
So, and what would your sister do during this time?
She'd really be crying. She was a big crybaby.
So the patriarch and the matriarch of the Buckley dynasty, they're in the front seat driving. Did you guys have like a minivan or a car?
At different points, we had different vehicles because we always buy cheap used vehicles. So we would only have a vehicle for about a year or two before it would crap out. So we had a bunch of different cars at different points.
So they're driving. You guys are in the back seat. You're trying to play.
Yeah, we're poking at each other.
You're trying to play your Game Boy. Yeah. Your brother's hitting you in the head. Your sister's crying.
And I got to deal with that for 4 hours.
Your dad's getting angry. I'm sure he's chain smoking.
Oh, yeah. He smoked in the car with the kids. That's fine. They both did.
Did you guys? So it was a 4 hour. I imagine at some point you stopped for fuel.
Stopped to make
at least
PPs.
Once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever? Was there a snack situation? Did you guys pack like a cooler for the drive, or?
Yeah, we would have like saltwater taffy and beef jerky. That's always good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But you know what? My brother was always the aggressor. I was trying to be an innocent child, and then he would go and smack me upside the head or something, and then I'd have to give him a side punch.
So what?
And then I'm the villain because I'm the old one.
Yeah. Well. So.
Exactly. It's horrible.
Was there ever any time where you guys thought maybe you would change things up and maybe go to a different destination for vacation, or is it always?
No, we never did that.
Everybody loved Indiana Beach, and you wanted to do Indiana Beach every year.
Yeah, I mean that was the old reliable one. I mean we did go on some other vacations, but Indiana Beach was like the one we would go to every year.
Now, are there rides there?
Oh yeah,
it's an amusement park, right?
Yeah, there's like a couple big wooden coasters. There's a couple little steel ones. There's like a bunch of ones. Like basically, as a teenager, I was still scared of the roller coasters. So I would just go on the rides that go in circles. I like those.
Hold on a second. Sorry, Ryan. Joe, were you actually afraid of the roller coasters, or were you afraid of going up to the attendant at the roller coaster and him telling you that you're too big for the ride?
That happened once at a Six Flags.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that did happen once
Joe,
at Six Flags. And I had to go to the back of the line and wait for my friends to get off the roller coaster that I was not allowed to go on. But
I'm crying, Joe.
Yeah. It was like a strap situation. The strap was too big around my belly. I couldn't snap it tight.
I tell you, a couple of years ago, and why I totally believe, not that I wouldn't believe you anyway, but I totally believe that story because a couple of years ago, maybe 2013, 2014, I went to Six Flags Great America with a girl I was dating at the time.
You get it in?
I imagine.
Get lucky. Cool.
I mean, that's usually what adults do in relationships. But the point of my story is there was a couple, a man and a woman, and they were very robust. They were very large. And I don't think they tested the chair on the way in or anything. You know, sometimes they've got that chair.
They do. A lot of the big ones have a chair out in the lobby area of the roller coaster.
But while we were waiting in line, the woman in particular, they could not get the shoulder bar, over the shoulder. They could not get it down. And there's like these high school kids doing the summer job.
Just laughing at them.
No, they're just trying to get it down. I mean, they're pushing, and she's like, no, I can't breathe.
Well,
and
maybe you shouldn't go on the coaster then, lady.
And I remember, nobody was overtly laughing. People were still
snickering, maybe filming with their cell phone cameras.
But it was like a whole thing. Like it was taking forever, and then like they had to call a manager over, and they were having like a huddle discussing whether they're going to keep trying or
they had to call the fire department out to cut her out of the ride.
Well, what they ended up doing was they told the woman she couldn't ride, and so she got out with her boyfriend. He was like, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'll stay on.
So he stayed on the ride. He went.
Hell yeah.
And I'll never forget that.
Yeah, what they should have done is just tied like a big rope around her.
Interesting development here. Since the Buckley family has stopped going to Indiana Beach, it is permanently closed.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes. If you look up the website, it just says Indiana Beach Amusement and Water Park Resort
Buckley's not
permanently
allowed.
closed.
oh.
No, Joe, I think your family was keeping it open.
Yeah,
I mean, when
think
you
so.
went, did you have the whole clan, all 500 of you?
No, only 5 of us. Sometimes our grandma and aunt, but then she got too old and had to stop going.
Well,
We were afraid she might bust a hip or something near the carp.
Well, that brings up an idea. So there are several different kinds of families that go to these amusement parks, and granted, it's incredibly expensive to eat at any amusement park, any sort of thing, whether amusement park or ballpark, whatever. Of course,
Absolutely.
food is a very expensive thing. So there are those families that you'd be at the park and you'd see that they brought in their food, because a lot of places will
Ham
allow
sandwiches and stuff.
that. And you'd be walking by with your big, ridiculous, corn dog and $50
You just feel bad for
curly
him, yeah.
fried. You see this kid having to eat a fucking, a bologna sandwich.
His mouth is just watering looking at other people's cotton candy and cheese fries and stuff.
So were the Buckley those kind of raw dogs? Did you guys bring in your own food, or did you actually purchase this?
No. Luckily, for the most part, we did get to eat at the actual amusement park. Because Indiana Beach is kind of more of a budget amusement park anyway. You can get in for like maybe $40 for a pass or whatever, so
Okay.
the food wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Actually, there I would basically eat nothing but funnel cakes and Dippin' Dots because you couldn't get them anywhere else.
Well, you got to stock up. If you're only going once a year, you got to get your fill.
Absolutely.
Well, funnel cakes, you can get funnel cakes at almost all the fairs around the Illinois Valley.
I did not realize that as a child.
No. And your parents wanted
No.
your parents didn't want you to know about festivals. They didn't want you to know that fairs
Absolutely not.
existed. Because they didn't want to take you. They're like, you know what?
They would have to shout some more money to take Bubby to the carnival.
We take that lumpy son of a bitch to the fucking Indiana Beach every year.
Yeah, once a year.
enough.
That's enough for him. He gets to stay in the basement otherwise. So basically Indiana Beach is like on top of like a lake, and like there's just water surrounding the whole thing. There's a section where basically a bunch of carp just like swim up to the front and like just go on top of each other because people feed them.
Oh.
And we would bring in just bags and bags of expired bread to throw at the carp.
I like to think that the Buckley house, that Indiana Beach was such a big deal that they saved loaves of bread throughout the calendar year.
We just let them go bad. Yeah, no, we did. We saved up bread.
And then you killed off the entire fish supply in that river, and so then that's why Indiana Beach closed, because nobody was going there
fish are the
anymore.
only thing keeping it around. 50-pound carp or whatever.
Oh gosh,
these are some fat carp because of us. But yeah, I was looking at videos to kind of get a layout of the park again in my mind, and one like roller coaster reviewer says that the water there tastes like blood. Don't drink the water.
Ugh. Well,
It's just full of iron.
Yeah, I wouldn't drink the water. You mean just the water in general, or?
Yeah, the water in general, like the tap water and like all that shit.
Joe, would you take the bags from the loaves of bread and just dip it in the water, tie it up, and take it home so you could suck on it later?
I got a goldfish, Mommy. I got a goldfish. And I got 20-pound carp slapping its fins around in there. Yeah.
No, actually, they weren't allowed. They had very strict rules from Papa Buckley to keep the bags because that was their only source of birth control at that time.
Yeah. Big oversized
Gotta
condoms.
wrap it in a Subway bag.
Oh.
Yeah, well, yeah, they were. I guess, they are Christians. I guess so. Technically, they're not supposed to use birth control, so that might be it.
But a Wonder Bread bag.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a Christian, and my form of birth control is I wipe
Your
the
face.
cum on my hand like on my pillow. And that's birth control.
Gross.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Your forehead is birth control.
no. As a kid, I would go up on the Ferris wheel and throw coins down at people.
So you would go on the Ferris wheel. Would you go by yourself then?
Yeah, alone. It's bubby fun time on the Ferris wheel.
And okay, because I was going to say if you went with your parents, I'm sure they would have.
No, they would not encourage
frowned
that.
at you throwing coins at people. Not so much because that was going to hit people, but because
It might get him thrown out of the park.
no, that's good currency. The Buckleys need that currency.
Yeah. No, just basically anything that was in my pocket whenever I got on top of that Ferris wheel was going out trying to hit someone, like a small child or an old lady.
So coins and ID
just whatever.
card and
Yeah. Just
the Joe
Yeah,
Buckley
just my
ID
comb.
card.
My precious comb.
Now, so were you guys, when you got to Indiana Beach, did you guys ever separate, or was it a family unit? Like, you'd all go to everything together.
Yeah, as we got older, we would definitely separate because I didn't want to be around my parents because I was a cool teen and they were bumming my groove.
So would you go off with your brother and sister, or would you just seriously
No, I mostly like to be
100% by
alone.
yourself? Okay.
Yeah, no, they were still too annoying for me to be around. Now, one year, they went on the last ride on one of those wooden coasters of the night, and the thing got stuck on top. And so basically, they were up there for probably an hour and a half. It started raining, and then it got dark, so you couldn't see anything. And then they just had firemen go up there and like lead them all down the catwalk because they couldn't fix the ride to get it to go back down in the station.
So
yeah.
Earlier, you mentioned that you were scared of roller coasters.
I was very scared, yeah.
At a younger age.
Well, no, also as a teenager. I was probably about 16, and then I finally went on the smallest roller coaster they had at Indiana Beach, which is like the Galaxy or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got 2 hills, and it goes down. And after I rode that, I was brave enough to go on the other coasters. I got courage.
So do you like roller coasters now?
Yeah, I do like them now. I really like them now, but I was scared of them whenever I was like a teen because I thought the things would just fall over or whatever.
Hey, Joe, who was stuck on the coaster?
My brother and sister.
Okay. I don't know if this lines up or not.
Maybe. Let's see what you got.
What year was it?
Ooh, I'd like to say between like maybe 2008 to 2012. I don't know.
Well, there's one from 5 years ago.
Yeah, we would have been there.
The fire department in Monticello says it got a call shortly before 7:30 p.m. Monday that riders were trapped on the Steel Hog roller coaster at Indiana Beach Amusement Park.
No, unfortunately that wasn't it.
Oh, okay. Because it says authorities say 2 adults, a 15-year-old girl, which could be like your sister's age.
It was close, but they were stuck on either the Cornball Express or the Hoosier Hurricane.
Are those the actual fucking
Yeah, those are the names of the coasters.
Oh, my God.
I stand by that. I stand by that.
The Steel Hog.
The Steel Hog it's actually, for like a half a year, it was like the steepest coaster in existence because it has like an inverted drop where it goes like slightly upside down. And somebody else built a slightly steeper one and beat it.
So all the corn dogs come sliding out of your gullet, and then when you get to the bottom, they land right back in your mouth.
Yep. Oh, your big gulp sodas that you brought on there where I just completely tip over and spill on the person behind you.
Oh, God.
So, is there any particular memory, other than obviously your brother and sister getting stuck on one of the roller coasters, are there any memories that stick out through any of your excursions, be it the commute there, the commute back, or an actual event, maybe it's something at the hotel, maybe something at Is there anything that sticks out in particular, an event?
I for some reason, I remember that one time they were playing the Beatles song, I Want to Hold Your Hand, over the loudspeaker. So I grabbed onto my brother's hand and just started singing it.
So is that your favorite memory?
No, it's not my favorite memory. It's just something embarrassing I remember.
Well, anything else notable ever happen during those vacations?
I mean, it was just, for the most part, the park was just kind of like same old, same old. It was very small and very empty. So the good thing is you could go on like one of those big wooden coasters, jump off it, jump over the exit line, and get right back on it before the next train even left. There was that few of lines, so it was nice.
Did they have any sort of fast pass situation?
No, you didn't need one. I mean, there was nobody in this park. It was kind of a shithole, but I like the rides, so that's good enough for me.
Now that we found out that Indiana Beach is closed, maybe forever, do you have any?
It's very sad.
Do you have any desire once everything opens up? Maybe next summer at this point, but any desire to go to another theme park?
I would love to go to Six Flags again. That's a fun one.
There's one around here. Well, not around here. I mean, it's still a drive, maybe an hour, but it's called Holiday World, which always makes me laugh because that's the most generic name for a park.
Yeah, that is bad.
But it's called Holiday World, and it's a smaller park, but it has, the reason it's called Holiday World is it's divided in sections for holidays. So there's there's a Halloween section.
A November Thanksgiving one, that'd be cool.
There is a Thanksgiving section.
There's just a bunch of Native American blood all over the ground.
It's
nice of them.
There's one for a lot of the holidays. So, and then the rides are themed for that, and the snacks are themed for that. But what's cool about Holiday World, and what you'll appreciate, Joe, is there are stations throughout the park
where you can just sit down and not have to walk anymore.
No, but that's free soda. Absolutely free. Like you don't have to pay for drinks there.
Okay, let me tell you a little story of Six Flags, Joe Buckley free soda experience. So they got these big cups that you can buy for like $25 and then refill all day. But what they don't want you to know is that sometimes people throw these cups away in the garbage. And if you just put your hand in there, get a fresh cup, and rinse it out a little bit with some water, you can have free soda all day without paying their disgustingly inflated prices.
Now, would you do that, Joe? Is that something that you would?
I did that. I'll admit to that.
Thrift store Buckley. So
Yeah.
maybe someday, Joe, you could come up with advice for people that are furloughed and people that are struggling with bills for layoffs right now, how they can stretch their dollar and how they
I got
can
some
pinch
good
their
tips. I got
pennies.
some good tips. Here, let me tell you. At a convention, sometimes they have like hot dog stands with like free like relishes and mustards and stuff. And sometimes they have like whole pickles, and you can just go right over there, steal the pickles, and walk away. Because that's free concessions.
Yeah. Well,
You don't have to buy a hot dog or nothing.
Wait a second.
You.
That reminds me. Joe, you just went to C2E2, or you went to the one this year, right?
Yeah.
Joe was at C2E2, this past C2E2 in Chicago, and Nick and Sarah called to tell me that they bumped into him, and he was in the midst of stealing pickles from the hot dog cart. He wasn't buying the hot dogs; he was just eating the fucking pickles.
That's absolutely true. I am disgusted with convention food vendors. They are disgustingly overpriced. They have people trapped in a giant building. You can't get out easily. Fuck them up their fat capitalist asses. Steal from them.
It's funny you say all that stuff, Joe, but you're the king of trying. You want to rip off and steal people all the time. Steal from people. You just said one of the first things you do is when you get up to start torrenting.
Yeah. What? I'm supposed to try to find Twilight of the Cockroaches for.
Well, part of the reason things are so expensive is people have to, there's a big markup. They got to make their nut, and you're not helping things. The prices aren't going to go down with you stealing.
Yeah, those poor union busters. Fuck them.
Union buster.
Yeah.
Is your dad in the union, Joe?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You hear him talk about it much?
No, not really. No, that's my own view.
Yeah, I'm sure well researched.
That's my own view.
Yeah.
Joe's watched 5 minutes of Norma Ray, and now he thinks he knows everything about unions.
I was just watching They Shoot Horses, don't they?
That's a nice reference.
Yeah, I like it.
A nice reference.
I like it.
Pulling that out of nowhere.
One time we went to Six Flags with my extended family, so like the other Buckleys came along, and like I wore jeans on like a 110-degree day. And then I got too hot and almost passed out, and I had to go in the chili dog hut to cool down.
They just poured chili on top of your head.
No, that wouldn't cool you down. Chili's hot, Ryan.
Well, for normal people, but a Buckley getting some chili sauce on their skin.
I would just be salivating and letting out like sweat and liquid.
So have you ever had heat stroke then? Is that the closest you've come to a heat stroke?
Yeah, that would probably be about the closest. Other people in my group thought I was being grouchy, but my fluids were just giving out.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure the fluids that you had previously put in your body were cool, clear, clean water. I'm sure it was all real good, hydrating
maybe
stuff.
A little Mountain Dew, maybe a little Code Red, maybe some some Red Bull or something.
Now,
and then on another Six Flags trip in grade school, I refused to go on the river raft because you get splashed by a waterfall.
And you didn't want to get wet?
Yeah, I did not want to get wet, so I did
can't
not go
blame you on that. Here's the thing about water rides.
Yeah.
Only recently in my life, and I'm talking the last 2 or 3 years, have I gone on water rides at any of these. I'm a big fan of amusement parks. Last summer I went.
I love coasters,
Yeah, last summer I went to 2 different, one Kings Island near Cincinnati, which I'd never been to before, and that was a great park. And then we went to Cedar Point, which is, the huge. And they
giant coaster.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, you had to wait forever, man. That place was packed.
Oh, it's a giant pain in the ass, yeah. But, hour and a half long wait.
Yeah, they were long, but the rides were incredible. But we did go. They have an entire water park section, and I did go.
Yeah, the splish splash zone.
On those, and I enjoyed it. That was the first time in probably 15 years that I've enjoyed a water ride. Because I don't want to changing my clothes and putting on the water shoes and all that shit. I never wanted to deal with all that.
Yeah, I think it's a giant pain in the ass. You've got your wallet and your phone in your pockets. That's getting pissed on all over by God's dripping wet liquids.
Yeah.
And you're just supposed to sit there and take it? I say, fuck your log flumes.
But I have come around a little bit on it. So even though it doesn't look like it'll probably happen this year, next summer I am looking forward to doing another water park kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I go around in just shorts, I'd be better equipped to deal with it. But with the jeans, those are never drying. You're going to walk around in soggy jeans for 3 hours.
No, and I imagine if you take your jeans and go into the water, there's going to be various things floating up out of the pants, crusts that are going to come loose and float to the top. There's going to be a lot of debris coming up your.
That is so untrue. No.
Old Pete.
Whenever I was a horny kid, I would just go underwater and just kind of stare at women's butts in like their swimsuits. But like I'm sure it was just so clear that that's what I was doing because I would just be underwater like 30 inches from the top.
Well, how the hell could you see, Joe?
Because I open my eyes underwater. Chlorine doesn't bother me.
No, I mean because you weren't wearing glasses.
No, I wasn't wearing glasses, but I'm sure I was close enough to the butt where my far-sighted vision doesn't bother me that way.
That's disgusting, Joe. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
What was it? Is it Splash that I'm thinking of? I think it is, where the kid drops coins, and he looks under so he can go under the table and look up girls' dresses.
Sorry, I dropped my fork. I gotta go take a look for it.
There's a movie called Mischief. It's like an 80s comedy that's set in the 50s about high school comedy kind of thing. And I remember there's a scene where this kid keeps dropping his pencil so he can take a peek at this girl's underwear, and he gets a boner. And at that moment, the teacher makes
Calls
him
him
answer.
up, yeah.
She makes him answer a question, and he tries to answer. And she's like, "Stand up." And he's got to stand up. It's one of the big gags in the movie.
Well, here's what you do. Here's what you do. If you're in high school and you have an awkward stiffy, you take your notebook and you just place it over your groin area whenever you stand up, and then you walk all the way to the front of the room with it. You draw on the chalkboard, and then you go back to your seat.
That's good advice. So anybody that's planning on entering high school, if there's
take some Joe Buckley
in-session
tips.
School, there's a Joe Buckley tip for you, fellas.
Yeah. Or women.
Or I
Yeah.
suppose.
Absolutely. Oh, I was going to say, we did take one really big vacation one time. So basically, my dad decided that he wanted to spend more time with our family. So he decided to take us on a cross-country trip to California so we could go to Disneyland.
Really?
You know, some people say it's America's favorite family fun park.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom wanted to fly, but my dad insisted on driving, you know. I guess he wanted to bond with us or something.
Yeah, because he doesn't get enough of you.
Yeah, it didn't really start out good because our car broke down. So my dad had to buy the cheapest car he could find, it was like a wagon Queen family truckster. This like old, ugly, green car, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like basically, so we're driving along, he accidentally takes like a turn into like an inner city place.
Joe?
And some people come over and steal our hubcaps.
Joe?
What? Huh?
That was a movie.
What? What do you mean?
National Lampoon's Vacation. That didn't happen to you. That was a movie you watched.
I was not watching a movie that happened to me.
No.
No. We went to our hillbilly kind of cousins. I smoked some pot.
If you would have started out this tale with you visiting hillbilly cousins and smoking pot, it would have taken me a little longer to catch on to what you were doing, because that's very believable. The Buckleys, going to some farm full of inbred Buckleys. But
we actually had to take our aunt because like basically her retirement home was along the way, and she ended up like she had this awful dog named Dinky that we had to drag along with her, but we accidentally tied it to the back of the bumper and just went along with it.
Now, did you end up eating a sandwich with piss on it?
I did not. I refused to. The dog pissed on our sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. And what happened when you got to the park? Hopefully it wasn't closed.
No, it was closed the whole time. But my dad had bought a BB gun beforehand, and he took a fat security guard hostage.
Wow.
That was one family vacation I'll never forget.
Well, whatever you could do, hopefully the Buckleys don't go to Europe for another vacation.
No.
That would just be
I
a
hope
travesty.
we do.
I have no idea what would happen then.
Yeah, you know what they say about European women is they always take off their shirts. I saw like 3 boobs on European vacation.
Yeah. That was the first one I ever saw. It was European Vacation. I didn't see.
I was gonna do Christmas Vacation eventually, and first, and then I realized that they don't actually go on vacation in that movie.
No, the vacation is for everybody else. They come, like the family members go on Christmas vacation, come to their house.
Oh, I see what happened.
Did you see Vegas Vacation?
No, I didn't see that one.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like 8 of those movies now of the Vacation saga, the epic Skylander saga.
Well, there's 4 of the originals, and then they did the kind of reboot sequel thing with Ed Helm a couple years ago. I didn't see that one.
Why don't there's 2 direct-to-DVD ones like Vegas Vacation 2 and Christmas Vacation 2 with Randy Quaid?
Yeah, and I'm not. I've seen Christmas Vacation 2, and I think we talked about that on one of the Clash of the Commentaries. But I didn't even know that there was a Vegas Vacation 2.
Yeah. So, what kind of cool vacations did you go on?
Growing up, we did quite a few. We would go to Six Flags. That was one we went to quite a bit.
Wisconsin
It's a
very
Dells.
fun park.
Wisconsin Dells was a big one.
I went to the Dells once, and I couldn't ride anything because we were shooting something there. So I was just looking at fun things to do, and then we had to go get shots instead of a teenager running.
Didn't stop you from buying pounds and pounds of beef jerky.
I did buy some beef jerky, but that was to celebrate the film shoot, and I shared some with our production designer Nicholas and Tyler, the director.
My heart's going on a roller coaster.
Can I go in the pool, director? Can we get a shot of me in the pool?
The only ride that Joe could ever have with his weight is his insulin spikes.
Or how about like a nice mustache ride?
Ugh.
Your dad does have a mustache.
He does. He's a mustached man.
We went to Wisconsin Dells a couple of times, but the big vacation, there was one huge vacation that we went on to. and that was Walt Disney World and Universal Studios in Orlando.
Nice.
And that was like the one we talked about that for years. I'm trying to think how. I have to think for a second how old I was. I think I was around 10. I think I was 10 when we did that. And we drove. We borrowed my grandparents' van. My grandparents had a nice van. We borrowed that and we drove. I remember we stopped in Atlanta during the drive.
What's in Atlanta? Is that like the Arch?
Not St. Louis.
Oh, that's right. That is St. Louis.
Atlanta, right? Well, Atlanta now is the new Hollywood. That's where Pinewood Studios has their American studio, and that's where Walking Dead and all the Marvel films are made. I mean, Atlanta right now is like the new Hollywood.
Yeah. That's
I remember we stopped in Atlanta. It took us. We didn't drive nonstop. We stopped. I remember and got a hotel at least once at some point during the drive.
I hate driving so goddamn much. If I have to drive 10 minutes, I'm disgusted. So I don't know how anyone can do 15 hours, 24 hours.
Yeah, and I remember it was so hot. Ugh. It was so freaking hot.
Yep,
I don't know if they didn't want to run the AC because it was a van.
It takes up too much gas, Ryan. We can't put the AC on.
But I remember it was hot as hell. But and I remember Disney World was cool. You know, I was not. Still this day, it's no secret. Everyone knows I'm not a big animation fan. So as such, I was never a big Disney fan.
No, you say fuck Oswald the Rabbit.
And so for me, I was more excited about Universal Studios.
Yeah, I mean, that one's definitely more geared towards, like, big kids. Like, Walt Disney World's geared towards, like, little kids and, like, creeps who are, like, 30.
And I remember the Star Wars ride was cool. They had that Star Wars ride where it was, you know, it was a screen in front of you, and the ride would move and rock and back and forth. I don't know if they have a name for those kind of old virtual rides or whatever. But that was pretty cool. That was what I was most excited about as a kid.
I think I saw footage of that on YouTube. There's like a cool part where like Jar Jar's like, Misa seatbelt came off. Misa gonna die.
This was do that again. Do your Jar Jar again. It's not terrible.
Thank you.
No, there was this was before the prequels came out.
Okay.
Yeah, this would have been around.
I can't remember a time before the prequels.
Well,
the prequels were like my 9/11, I think.
But this would have been like 1990, 91, I think, around there.
Okay,
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 91. Yes, it was 91 because my cousin was born. My youngest cousin was born that summer, and I remember.
Did you take him with
you? No, we called. I don't know how. In thinking about it now, I don't know how we found out. Because there wasn't a cell phone, there was no text messaging.
Maybe you had like a car like cell phone or whatever, like those like big bulky things.
We didn't, but now I don't know if they were just expecting it to happen. But either way, I remember that's how I remember my cousin's birthday, how old he is, because he was born in summer '91, and that's when we were at Disney World. So, but like I said, the thing I was most excited about was Universal Studios because there's movies and blah blah blah.
Well, you got to go on your Jaws ride, right?
Oh, we didn't end up going on the Jaws ride.
No?
I don't know. Well, I'm not sure if that's in Orlando or not.
It could be in a different location. I don't know.
Because there's one in Universal Studios Hollywood too.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think there was a Back to the Future ride.
I know the Jaws ride in particular is like notorious for breaking down. So I think they just had it shut down for years at one point, and I don't know.
The most memorable thing from that trip was a very embarrassing, horrifying thing that happened to me.
Okay. What happened?
At the Universal Studios there, they had a section for Nickelodeon. And they had reproductions of the game shows at the time.
Okay.
You know, like Double Dare. So they had like a mini, not with Mark Summers, it wasn't televised, but they had like a mini version kind of Double Dare.
They had Bob Blarkers.
Bob Black. And so I remember everybody went in. You waited in line a long time. And I need to preface this. So actually, that morning we went to Universal Studios. I don't know. My dad talked to some guy. We got suckered into going to, timeshare meetings.
Yeah. You get like a free stay at like a resort if you listen to 3 hours of garbage.
I want to say we got discount tickets to Universal Studios.
That's really what it is.
That's probably why we did. But that morning, we went to wherever this place was. Maybe it was at the hotel we were at, and there was a big buffet breakfast. So we had pancakes and all the stuff. And
chicken wings, breakfast chicken wings.
They might have breakfast chicken sandwich. I don't remember exactly. But I remember eating a lot of it because it was free, and it's like, what the hell?
Hell yeah!
So we ate the food. My dad sat through the pitch. I don't know, whatever. Said no, thank you. We ended up going to Universal Studios.
Okay.
And we're sitting there, and they looked for volunteers. Whatever this Nickelodeon game thing was, they needed kid volunteers. And me, I was already doing plays and stuff at the time. Any chance to get attention, I was all about it. So I put my hand up, and
jumping up, raising your hand. Yeah,
I probably did some shtick or said some bullshit. That I was chosen either way. I was chosen amongst of like 10 or 11 other kids. So they took us over across the floor, I guess, and sat us on some other bleachers, and we were going to play these games. I don't remember everything about the game. I do remember there was a game where you had to pass something very fast amongst each other, but
you got to try to shoot like a basketball in a hoop made of slime or something like that.
Yeah, it was all sitting down. I think you did that, and then but right when we started sitting down, I was already kind of feeling a little sick. I was feeling a little rumble in my stomach.
You got some tumbly rumblies.
I was feeling a little something, and it was probably from that.
Yeah, the buffet.
Warmed over buffet food at the.
Yeah, the heat lamp buffet. It got you. It got you good.
And so we're sitting there, and we're playing this game, and immediately I start feeling nauseous. I start sweating. I start getting the gurgles. I'm not sure if I'm going to vomit or if I'm going to shit my shorts.
Hey, it's better coming up than going out. That's what I say.
And I remember having, in retrospect, I realized I started to have a panic attack. At the time, I didn't know what the fuck it was. But now I realize, since I've had more in my life, I was having beginnings of a panic attack because of the sickness I was feeling.
Oh, okay.
And the way my parents tell it is they could tell that my engagement was quite a bit down as the games were progressing. They could tell I was not as interested. I was becoming more pale.
You couldn't even tell them who was on the $5 bill. You thought it was Blabe Lincoln.
Well,
Blabe's not a real man's name, Ryan. You blew it. You blew the contest.
And coming from Illinois, I should have known better.
Absolutely.
I started getting more sick, and it started to get very real. I knew something was going to happen. I was either going to rise up 3 or 4 inches, or I was going to puke all over the head of the kid in front of me. So I remember I had to raise my hand, interrupt the fucking, and you have to understand, this is in front of like
probably 100 people.
50 or not quite as much, but like 50 or 60 strangers. And I stopped the game dead in its tracks. And the MC is this guy, he's bipping and bopping, and you could tell he was visibly annoyed. I remember his face dropping and being like,
deal with kids every single day. Yep.
What the fuck's wrong with this kid? And I stop and I'm like, I think I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think I need to go to the bathroom. And so he waves over an assistant. And
a giant security guard.
It's this big sweaty dude comes over. No, I think it was a woman. I don't know.
Good.
I don't
That's
remember
good.
those details. But they came over and they take me to the bathroom. Well, my parents, they're, like I said, they're on the other side watching. They all of a sudden see the game stop. They see me. They couldn't hear me, but they see me talking to somebody. They see me let out. And in their mind, they're like, "Oh, Ryan just got chosen for something super cool.
He won a Ferrari at age 10."
Yeah, they're thinking, "Oh shit, here's this big break. He's going to be in the next Monster Squad movie."
Oh.
But in reality, I was taken to the bathroom, and man, I didn't vomit, but man, I showed some business. I showed some business to that, and it was funny. It was not a public restroom.
Oh, so you had a private shitter.
It was like some employee toilet in the back, where all the show folk, take their shits. I remember it, and I sat there. And
Miranda Cosgrove probably made mud on that toilet.
Some mud was made that day.
That's a star toilet.
And so anyway, things progressed. I felt much better, but they wouldn't let me come back out there.
No, you're not allowed. You're the duty kid now. You're known as the duty boy.
Yeah, they wouldn't let shit boy go back out.
Hey, well, at least you didn't make Nickelodeon gack in your pants. It could have been worse.
But I had to wait till the game was over. And then once the game was over, they took me out. My parents were there, and they were all confused. And I had to tell them, well, I didn't feel good. And to this day, that story is one of the more popular stories amongst my family. We start talking about things. They're like, hey, remember that time Ryan got diarrhea during the Nickelodeon game?
If like a family can get one over on a small child, it makes them happier than anything else, happier than winning the lottery. They can just make a small child feel insignificant.
That is probably, of all the vacations, and I've had some great vacations, both with my family and on my own. I went on a school field trip to Washington, D.C. In 8th grade, at the end of 8th grade. I forgot my underwear. I forgot to pack underwear. I had one pair with me for like 4 days. Yeah, that sucked. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, did you fall in love in on the field trip?
No, not at all.
Nothing like that.
No.
Damn. Because sometimes whenever you get those teens together in a hotel room, things can progress.
See, that was not the thing for me. I was a bit of a late bloomer. when it came to that sort of thing. I liked girls. I had many crushes, but as far as being able to speak to women and talk to girls and have any confidence, that didn't start. That didn't happen in high school either.
Was it inverted penis? Was that the issue?
No, it was just I was more. Maybe Joe, you can relate to this. I was more interested in doing bits.
Oh, sure.
I was more interested in talking about movies and being funny and doing all that than I was trying to be the kind of dude that would get a girlfriend in high school. I did ask a girl out one time. I worked up all my college. I remember all my courage. My very last class of that day, I remember, was a computer class, typing class or something.
Yeah.
And I'm pumping my no. I was just like I knew what her routine was because her locker wasn't too far from mine. So I pumped myself up.
You could just follow her all day. She would never know.
and I went up to her, and I remember I had pumped myself up with so much courage that nothing was going to stop me from doing this. Nothing, not even her standing having a conversation with her friend. I was going to interrupt that fucking conversation and ask her out.
Yeah.
And I'd never asked a girl out before. And so I figured, well, the only thing I know about asking girls out, I learned from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And so
they always stay. I get older, but they stay the same age.
Not that part.
Damn.
But and that's Dazed and Confused anyway. But no, there's a part in that movie where the guy asks a waitress out, and he says he orders his food. Or no, that's part of the movie. The other part of the movie is when Ratner, the character Ratner, asks out Jennifer Jason Leigh, and he asks her for her phone number so he can call her and ask her out sometime. So he doesn't ask her out then. He asks her for a phone number.
You wait. I'd say, could I get your phone number? I'm working with Comcast, and we're going to be servicing your Wi-Fi in about 12 to 3 business days. So I'm going to need your phone number in order to know the address.
So we didn't have Wi-Fi then. The fucking internet was still
it was a distant future.
It was something that very few of us really understood at that point. And anyway, so I walk up to this girl, and she's talking to this other girl. And I said, excuse me. And I interrupt the fucking conversation with such bravado. And I'm like, hey, I was wondering if I could get your phone number so I can call and ask you out sometime. Fucking verbatim from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Well, she didn't see it. I'm sure she didn't see it. So that's
I know she didn't see it. I used to have a Fast Times at Ridgemont High t-shirt. And everyone was like, oh, what movie is that? But I asked her, and she turned and she said, well, actually, I've got a boyfriend. And I hadn't prepared for what to do.
No,
how to tap dance my way out of it. I was so convinced that she was going to be like, oh, sure, here's my number, that I didn't know what to say. So I remember I stood there for a few seconds. I said, oh, well, all right.
Yep, and then you have to run.
And then, no, I should have run. Instead, I turned to her friend and I said, what about you?
Yeah. Can I get some sloppy seconds instead?
I did. And I tried to make it a bit, but I don't think it came across as a bit. I think they legit thought I was trying to just like, all right.
You're just trying to hook up with anyone.
So, yeah. And then, since my locker wasn't too far from her for the rest of the school year, I had that, I had to see her and feel the ridiculous embarrassment.
I've never asked out a chick, but I don't know if I've told this story on this podcast or a different podcast with Tad. But like basically, I would be in like high school geology class. I was so dumb I had to take classes about rocks because that was like the least amount of homework they would give out. And so there were a bunch of jocks on one end, and then like all the geeks on the other end, and some girls in the middle. And I would hang out with the jocks because I could make them laugh. And then, basically, I was doing a bit for, like, 3.5 months of me just doing pickup lines to, a girl. And I really had no interest in the girl herself. I just wanted to make the jocks laugh. So this went on for, like, months and months. And then finally, I guess the teacher pulled me aside, and he was like, well, this girl's very uncomfortable because she thinks that you're retarded and these jocks are bullying you. No, this is a true story.
I've heard variations of this story.
Yeah.
Before.
There were so many teachers who thought I was mentally retarded. It was a regular occurrence. It was awful.
Well, I think that's something, your high school experience, that's for another episode.
Pod. Okay. Well,
yeah,
I got some more cool
episode.
Vacation stuff.
Oh, well, yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. We went to a cabin resort called Grand Bear Lodge. Did you ever hear about this whenever you were here?
Well, yeah, that's right there. Yeah, that's
okay.
Sean got married there.
Oh, okay.
That was where his wedding was.
Okay. Well, here, after the Buckley vacation happened there, here's what happened. My brother used to be a lifeguard there, and he said that they had chlorine gas buildup that almost killed everyone in the building twice. They didn't fix that the first time.
Yeah.
A child got attacked by a wolf, And then a teacup ride broke down and hospitalized 7 different children. And then a pump fire.
That was all what is it?
Grand Bear Lodge, it's called. And then a pump fire burnt out most of the water park. So that's pretty much just in ruins at this point.
Well, I remember the fire because that was a year or two ago, because Sean and I were on the air doing our show.
Oh, and it just happened live then?
I think we talked about it, or our news director brought it in.
Yeah, you could do you could do some cool bits. Like if it's right by the water park, why don't they just wave their hands in the air and spray it with water?
But I remember, I think that happened while we were on the air. So
yeah, and one time we took a zoo trip while my brother was in a wheelchair because he broke his leg on a scooter. He was trying to do cool scooter tricks. So then I volunteered to push him around, but then I abandoned him in the rain because I didn't want to get wet. And then also, here's the thing I noticed about zoos. Every single one of them, all the animals in there smell like a reincarnation of G.G. Allen. Like, I don't understand
G.G. Allen smell like, Joe?
Like shit, like human shit.
Okay, so what was the point of bringing up G.G. Allen? You just wanted to mention G.G. Allen because he's edgy?
No, it was a cool tidbit.
There's no way you went to a zoo and said to yourself, wow, smells like G.G. Allen here.
No, that was an observation I made later
piece
in
of
life.
Shit. I hate you bring up G.G. Allen all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm just, the podcasters don't know this is a brand new podcast. I'm
here's
just trying
the
to do
thing.
fun bits.
No, you're not going to. Okay, I'm going to put my foot down right now. You're not going to redo bits.
What?
From previous podcast.
But Ryan, he's only got like 3 bits. What do you expect of him?
No!
The reason we have the theme that we do is to try and pull out. It's not for me, Joe, because I can tell you bits and stories. I am a fount of shit to talk about.
Got so many bits.
But you want to just talk about the same shit. So I'm trying to find new angles to get new conversational pieces out of you.
Okay.
So either you watch something you've never seen before, or a story about your life that I haven't heard before. I've heard the G.G. Allen references, which are interesting because G.G. Allen comes from the world of music, and as episode 3 proved, you don't listen to music.
No, I don't listen to music. I watched the documentary.
Your knowledge of G.G. Allen begins and ends at either a documentary or one of the many forums you follow.
Yeah,
so that's not
shittymusicians.com.
Good regurgitation of other people's ideas and references are not interesting because you have nothing to say about G.G. Allen. As a matter of fact, if I took a picture of G.G. Allen,
I might tell the difference between him and my dad,
and I put it on the wall, and I took a picture of any other musician, any other punk rock musician, any other noise rock musician from that era, and put him next to there, I can't guarantee you'd be able to pick them out.
No, I probably wouldn't.
Actually, Joe, you know what would be really interesting for one of these episodes?
What's that?
If you find another figure like G.G. Allen, some sort of counterculture, in your face, edgelord, of the 80s, the 90s, the 70s. If you found somebody else and wanted to educate Ryan on them, that might be interesting.
Okay, well, I'll have to keep that in mind for the podcast.
But you won't.
I will have to keep that in the back of my mind. I can't guarantee what bits I'll do, what day, and how often.
Yeah, Joe needs to work loose. That's how Joe works.
Yeah, I'm loosey-goosey, baby.
Okay.
I took caffeine
Ryan,
pills. I'm ready to go.
Case in point. Joe comes into my house, very excited, starts talking before the doors open to tell me that he's got a great bit for the episode. And of course, I roll my eyes, and then he mentions, how about I just say the plot of National Lampoon's Vacation and act like it was one of my own? And I'm like, well, actually, that's not a bad idea. So we get
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah, we get downstairs, we start preparing, and I'm like, okay, so what are you going to say? He's like, well, I'm just going to do the synopsis of the plot. I'm like, okay, but what are you going to say? So he starts rattling off, and he immediately jumps to, and so me and my cousins are smoking pot, and I'm like, wait a minute. It's been a long time since I've seen that fucking movie.
I've seen it
There's a lot
once.
that happens in that movie. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's just pull up the synopsis. We'll go through it beat by beat. We don't need to do the whole thing. Let's just rewrite, like the first couple chunks of it. And Joe immediately is turned off. He's like, ugh.
I hate writing so
completely
goddamn much.
deflated. So I was like, I'll do it for you. So I start reading out loud as I rewrite the first paragraph from the Wikipedia synopsis of the movie. And as I go along, 5 sentences, Ryan, rewriting it, he is just so disinterested by the end of it. And it's because he wants it to feel organic, like it comes from him.
I do.
Joe, you didn't write the fucking movie, National Lampoon's Vacation, so it's not your bit, period, anyways. Okay? So it's like just all you have to do is regurgitate the plot as if it was your own. And Oh God, it was so disheartening. I'm glad you stuck to the script.
Okay.
I'm glad you did. I'll give you props for that. You were mostly there in the delivery. You tried to make it seem somewhat organic. You could have done better.
Oh, okay.
But the fact that the moment I said, let me type out this thing and you read it and you're just like, ugh.
I hate writing so goddamn much. I hate it. I hate English clash.
Joe doesn't want to. Joe doesn't want to do the legwork. See, that's the thing is Joe doesn't want to do the legwork that most artists and broadcasters and personalities have to do. I understand, Joe. You want to be organic. You don't want it to sound rehearsed, especially when it's a conversational thing. And that's a great thing about the podcast format, exploding in the recent years.
Absolutely, yeah. You can just do whatever.
It goes against commercial broadcast, which is always about get in, get out. It's harder, to have conversations in commercial radio or commercial broadcast, whereas podcasts, it's up. You got to do whatever
you
the fuck
can
you
do
want.
anything you want. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's amazing.
You have a 4-hour. You can babble on 4 hours if you want.
I listen to a podcast called Come Town. That couldn't be a thing on radio.
But at the same time, Joe, you have to have some sort of preparation. If you're not a quick on your feet thinker, and Joe, I don't mean this in a negative way.
Sure, I understand what you're saying.
You're not super duper quick.
Well,
it may sound like you're quick to people that are new to you, but people that have known you for several years, like we have, you recycle things. Sometimes
I do.
It'll be G.G. Allen. Maybe instead of referencing G.G. Allen, you'll do the same joke, but you'll say divine instead, or you'll say, you'll pick 3 or 4 people.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I'm surprised you haven't started researching the Club Kids phenomenon of the 80s and a lot of weirdos in there, that whole Party Monster scene, and referencing some of those guys, because some of those guys are pretty infamous.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. I'd say I'd like to say I'm quick. It's just that the words sometimes don't come out right, so that hinders me in terms of what I can say.
But the fact that your attitude towards doing even a few seconds of prep, even 5 minutes of prep, show, Joe, that you're not there. You're not there yet. You could be there. You're not there yet because you don't want to do even a little bit of prep. I get prep's a drag. Nobody likes to do it. Even radio people, it can be a bit of a drag, but it has to be done so you at least have some semblance of structure or an idea of where to go. But then you're organic, so you leave it open. So in case that's the thing, in case you may have a bit in mind and you may have a punchline in mind, but if it doesn't get there naturally, you have to also let it go.
Oh yeah, I've got like 10 lines a minute coming out, and then if the moment passes, you just gotta let it pass.
Right. You know what I think's going on in his brain right now is, as you're saying this, Joe, I'm sure I'm going to take a stab in the dark. I think what your response to Ryan would have been, yeah, but Ryan, if I had pre-written a bit, we wouldn't be doing the bit that I actually want to do, which is you lecturing me about being prepared.
Yeah, see, this is
a great bit. This is great radio, Ryan.
Yeah, I thought of this. I thought of all of this.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I'm the puppet master.
God. Yeah, if you shove stuff up your ass.
I do not have wooden beams up my ass. That's not the kind of puppeting I do.
God, yeah. Joe, don't go that thick. 4x4s up there.
I got a 2x4, not a 4x4.
Joe knows so much about puppetry. He's like, oh, it's all 2x4s, right?
Yeah.
Even though you've literally had a puppet next to you, and you know more about puppetry than probably 90% of Americans, just for the sheer fact that you've had Dr. Erlenmeyer.
Next to one, yeah.
Yeah, so you alone have some experience with a puppet.
Yeah.
You're still like, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I love marinaras.
Acting next to a puppet makes.
Joe, oh my God, dude!
I'm
gonna have to
fine.
fucking bleep that because Joe, he is gonna murder you.
No, he won't.
Oh,
no, he won't. I'm not afraid of that.
Joe, he will fucking murder your ass.
No, I don't think so.
I would never want to piss this guy off.
Well, hey, he's over a state away. I'm safe and sound in my basement.
What are you fucking talking about? He's like 60 minutes away.
Oh, well, I knew he was a drive away.
Joe, Ryan, Joe just pissed a little bit.
No!
I bet he did.
I did not
bet
piss
he
thinking
did.
of me. I'm not afraid.
Joe's weird because he pissed a little bit, but he was also getting erect. He kind of pissed through a boner a little bit.
That's impossible. Folks, that is completely impossible. Don't listen to these liars. You cannot pee with a boner. They're lying.
Joe, doesn't want to get beat up by men, but also the idea of
it turns me on a little.
Steely muscles touching him, even in a violent, vicious manner, kind of gets him a little worked up.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no,
And that's okay, Joe.
Don't
and that's
don't
okay.
spill the baby oil all over me. Oh,
yeah. No, please don't pop me in the mouth. I might come.
oh God.
Anyway, I think that's a good.
Well, here,
that's
I
a
do
good
have
wrap-up
one more
moment.
vacation story if you want it.
Jesus Christ.
One more bit. Okay, let's hear the other.
Yeah,
we
I mean,
just
I'm
talked
prepared.
about when we all talked about when the steam runs out. But go ahead, throw another bit.
All right, so I was a Boy Scout as a kid, so we would go on week-long camping vacations without my family, right? So my nickname while I was a Boy Scout was Pyro, because anytime I saw a fire, I would start poking at it with a stick and then take the stick out and walk around the campsite with it.
Okay.
And then there was a cool older Scoutmaster, right, who he never touched us in any way. But he did teach us how to say fuck and to piss on the campfire, so that was pretty cool of him.
Okay.
Yeah, one time I brought a thing of worms to go fishing with and accidentally left them in my backpack for the whole trip. So my tent just smelled of, like, rotted dirt.
Yeah.
And
Worms
then-
stink.
Yeah. I really liked whittling because you could take a stick and sharpen one end into a spear.
Wheedling.
Whittling. I do not wheedle.
Joe has a problem with
I went to speech
vowels.
therapy as a child.
Yeah, they all look the same to him.
And then also I would eat around 10 Choco Tacos each week at the camp store.
Oh, I bet you did.
So wait,
Hey,
wait,
they're
did
good.
you have to go purchase those?
Yeah, you gotta buy them. Oh, yeah.
So your mom loaded you up with like a $20 bill.
And I was eating good. I
They
was
were like
eating
a buck a
10,
pop and-
15 Choco Tacos every week.
Jesus, and they didn't stop you?
No one stopped me as a child. That's why I'm the way I am.
They gave up on Joe. That's why they had the other two.
You
Yeah,
just
I'm
wore 'em
300
down.
pounds. I'm antisocial. I keep
Joe
throwing
was a first
fireworks at
draft.
the back of buildings.
And and to this day you're still a Choco Taco guy.
And that doesn't even like really sound like a vacation.
It's a vacation. I got to go on a vacation without my family. It was fun back then.
I don't know if I'd count that as vacation. I see what you should have done is saved your whole scouts thing for a whole bit.
Well, we could do another.
about the
Yeah.
shaping of your youth. I mean, like that's a big
I got
thing
more
for a
of
lot
that.
of kids. A lot of boys growing up was being in the Boy
Oh,
Scouts,
yeah,
and
yeah.
not
Boy
because some of them were
Scouting is
molested,
huge.
but because they learned a lot of valuable things about survival and how to
yeah,
work
about
together.
not being touched by the Scoutmasters. It's a
and,
great
and all you
organization.
learned was that at camp, Choco Tacos are dirt cheap, and you can afford to buy like 100 of them.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great experience.
And my whole thing here with Joe is, I think the reason sometimes with Joe, I try when he tells the story, after he's told the story, I try to think to myself, what was the purpose in his mind for that story? Why he chose that story? And I feel that while the Choco Taco story is fine and it's I believe it wholeheartedly, he wants to talk about camp just so he can constantly make reference to camp molesting.
No,
I agree
absolutely
with
not.
That I feel. If it was a wholesome story or even just a goofy story, I feel you might have waited longer on that one because, well, there's no way I can reference molestation or any sort of, offensive eyebrow-raising content.
Well, hey, it's not my fault they moved the pedophiles around camps. Ain't my fault. I wasn't a Scoutmaster.
The pedophiles, they got a whole section of files
The
on
pedophiles, sir.
the bikes with the good pedals and the bikes with the metal pedals that scratch in.
Yeah.
They want to know where all the bikes are and where all the pedals are, so they have a whole section in the office called
They
the
were
pedal
screaming.
file.
They were screaming that at him, and I'm like, I'm not on a bike. What are you shouting at me for?
See, that's organic, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
That's organic.
I try to
I'm
be.
thinking, what I did was there.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, I can take a compliment like the best of them.
You could take other people's
Yeah,
compliments.
I can take the compliment. That's what I'm saying. I can steal it.
But you can't take a nutrition plan.
Well, I will not
Can't
take
take
vitamin
that.
gummies. I hate them so much. Flintstones vitamins, you can go fuck yourselves.
You need to start taking a one a day. You need to start taking a big boy vitamin every day.
What's that yogurt that like Jamie Lee Curtis eats so she has good shitties?
Activia.
Okay, maybe I'll start eating some of that. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you should.
Okay.
Anyway, so there you go. There you have it. Episode 4 of The Man with No Brain. And,
Hell yeah, baby. We got 4 in the bag.
and here's the thing I forgot to mention earlier. If you enjoy what you hear here, there's a lot more craziness with Joe and a whole lot of other folks over at our main channel, Malevolent Movies. There is a 6-episode web series called The Benevolent Buckley Show, which is, we were talking about that puppet earlier. That's part of that show.
Yeah. We got full-on puppet action in that series. Go check it out.
There's a movie review show, a video movie review show called Malevolent Movies. It was also Malevolent Matinee. And there is Midnight Myths and Mysteries, where Joe and Trevor try to unravel some different urban legends and mysteries that exist.
Mostly just Bigfoots. We keep getting hung up on the Bigfoot, the big feet.
Well, Joe likes feet. He likes big, hairy feet. He's a foot
Yeah,
guy.
Joe just wants to talk about his dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I wish I was fucking a hobbit now.
And then also Clash of the Commentaries, where you can actually watch a movie with Joe and I. And it usually turns into just yelling and
We've had some fun ones. Yeah, we've had some good
verbal
ones
abuse,
there.
mostly
I
from
really
me.
like the Jaws 2 one we did. That was a fun one.
Yeah, so if you like any of that stuff, by all means, head on over to Malevolent Movies, like it, hit the bell icon so you can get notifications, and do the same here with The Man with No Brain, and share it. If you like it, share it on your social media, share it, tell your grandma, tell your
Yeah,
dad.
and Instagram it. Who knows what?
Yeah.
I'm not up on what all these kids are doing. Make vines of the
Yeah.
content. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Make a TikTok of you shaking your head, listening to Joe say awful things.
Tyler M, stop pulling up videos of men with penises in their ass, waving their penises back and forth to the tune of "You spin me right round, baby, right round."
Yeah, Joe,
That is the second time that has happened
and the
on
third-
this podcast.
and it's the third time Joe's got a boner on this podcast. So.
And now there is a picture of a woman shitting on her own face in a tub. You could call her a tub girl.
See how excited Joe gets when he gets to talk, Phil.
Well, it's fun. It's
Hey,
fun. There's nothing wrong
actually-
with
No way he
Phil.
brought that up.
Share this to a psychologist. You know any psychiatrists, psychologists, psychology majors even. Share
An
this.
intern. Give
Share
it to an
this.
intern.
And have them analyze Joe, have them analyze me. I don't give a shit, but specifically have them analyze Joe and try to come up with. I'd love to hear a thesis of some sort. And by all means, leave a comment, or if you're going to do it, and let us know. We'll get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
Do you flip burgers at McDonald's? Come on the show and tell us what's wrong with Joe.
Hey, I don't mind. Hey, we'd be glad to have a guest. We could do whatever. I don't know.
Are you
I
an
mean, 'cause here's the
optometrist?
thing.
Come and look at Joe's eyes when he doesn't have his glasses on. Tell us what's wrong.
I know what's
There's
wrong
no
with my
life
eyes.
in
I'm
there.
farsighted.
One of those,
No, the thing of
one of
it,
those
I
eyes
need
does its own
somebody-
thing.
I need somebody on this podcast to take a look at my feet because my toenails are just falling off.
Oh,
You got
I
an
believe
athlete's
that.
foot?
No, I peel them. I peel my nails.
Ugh. Well, we're
I need them off. I can't have them on my body. It might be psychosis. I don't know. But I just need my skin to not be on my body.
yeah. Well, that's something we'll talk about later because I remember.
Okay, that could be a
I
different
remember
episode.
Tyler saw you eating your hair,
Yes.
and he saw you eating your
They-
own skin in the rearview
That may have
mirror.
happened,
and
yes,
that wasn't a
I'll
bit because
admit
you
it.
didn't realize that it was looking at you.
There are different
the man
things
with
that
no
people do
skin
with
and
their
hair.
bodies that may be something I do with mine.
Joe's one of the only people in the world whose caloric intake consists of his own body.
Just cat hair.
Yeah.
He's 100% fuel
I
efficient.
go around licking my kitties,
He's
coughing
gonna
up
start doing urine
hairballs.
looping next.
I did try my own urine. It wasn't half bad.
Okay. Well, there you go. Like I
yep,
said,
see you
everybody.
next episode, people.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in again. Hit that icon. Hit the like button, and we'll talk to you
Yeah.
next time when we return with the man with no brain,
Ooh, yeah, baby. Ooh.
Joe Buckley.